Everybody always gets really quiet when I hit record. It's like, oh crap, everyone's gonna see
Ron.
from here on out. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Not Just Politics as Usual. I hope you all had a happy Thanksgiving. Matt and Andrew, did you guys have a good Thanksgiving? Did you eat a lot?
Excellent. Yeah, had a wonderful time with the family. I did cook this year. Smoked our turkey. It's fantastic.
Oh,
Perfect.
that's like the best way to cook it, is smoking it.
Yeah, everybody liked it. They said it was the best. It's huge.
I went out to Dominic's Steakhouse, so it was, all the leftovers without the cleaning.
That's perfect. That sounds like heaven to me for Thanksgiving. You don't have to clean anything. And I made lasagna for Thanksgiving. That's what my children asked for. So they either don't trust me to make turkey or they just really like my lasagna that much. I don't know which one it is, but
Just say they really like your lasagna.
that's it. I think that's probably what it is. Today, I wanted to talk about something. We have a writer at George. His name is Alex Newman. I think he's an excellent writer. He writes for the Epic Times, and he wrote an article about the UNESCO. Basically, it's a way to control speech online. So I found it really interesting. I read through this article, and this is what it starts. It said they unveiled a plan to regulate social media and online communication. So these people got together in this big meeting and they decided this is what we're going to allow. This is what the best practices, I guess, what we're going to allow for online censorship and what we're going to allow for hate speech and all of that. So I read through some of it, and it's interesting. And I'll be honest, at George, we get a lot of people saying, well, why would you interview that person? Or why would you interview this person? And my response is always, okay, well, who would you like us to interview? Just because I'm curious, I'm trying to gauge people's interest, and everybody is so in this camp or this camp or this camp.
Right.
And, I just feel it's dangerous to do that. I feel like it's dangerous to just put people from this camp in there. That's not what John Kennedy Jr. did. He had people from all different backgrounds, all different political affiliations. So I know, Matt, you've read George. Would you concur with that?
He's with Castro. Louis Farrakhan. You name it. Yep. Bill Gates.
Yeah, that was a great interview, by the way, the one from the Survival Guide. We should do just an episode just on that article because there's so much information that was in it. Maybe we should do that. I'll keep that in mind.
Love to.
But that is the original mission of George, was just to put information out there. And maybe John Kennedy Jr. knew that this is what the world would turn into. It would turn into an echo chamber of this is what's allowed, this is what's not allowed. This is considered disinformation or hate speech, and this is what's considered true.
Right.
Did you get purged off of any social media sites in 2020? Twitter or
I did, yeah. But I was one of those people that would go on Obama's, Barack Obama's Instagram and be like, find the top comment and just remind people that Michelle's really Big Mike.
You're that guy. You're the guy that's I'm just coming
Troll.
in just
just trolling.
I could see you doing that. What about you, Andrew?
Yeah, I got suspended for a little bit. I usually don't talk very much on social media. I just look and
Andrew's more reserved.
Yeah, but I did somebody said something like it was during COVID and they're like, oh, I wish somebody would sneeze on Hillary, and I liked it, and then I got suspended for a week. They that gets froze my account for a week. Kind of interesting. I was like, oh, I didn't even write that.
Wow.
I just liked it.
See, okay, I'll tell you a story quick before we move on. Donald Trump's birthday last year, not this year, but last year, a bunch of creators just put little 15-second to 1-minute videos together that said happy birthday. And mine was really cool. It was with the George magazine that said happy birthday, Mr. President. And I was like, happy birthday, Mr. President. Thank you for giving us hope. All this stuff. It was great.
The Drew Barrymore cover?
What was that?
The Drew Barrymore cover?
Yeah, the Drew Barrymore cover.
Right.
Yeah. So I was, and then at the end, I showed the one with him on the cover. So it was kind of a cute, I thought it was cute. I edited this wonderful video together, and then Tom was going to post it, and everybody's going to post it on their social medias so everyone could see the message. And within, I think, 5 minutes of me posting that video, I got a strike and the video got taken down. And it's because somebody in the video, I'm not even sure which creator said it, but they alluded to that the election was rigged, stolen. And that information got it taken down, and I had a strike, a long strike too. So, and as we know now, there is quite a bit of fraud. So, and we know that like the Russia collusion hoax, we know that was a hoax now. And think of all the things they said, all this misinformation or disinformation, if you say that that's a hoax back in the
Right.
day. So we can see how this is very dangerous. To me, disinformation, the government's, definition of disinformation is information that's inconvenient, that they don't want us to know. So they'll just label it disinformation and then not let us have a voice anymore. So I wanted to talk to you guys about this because you understand it. You understand the concept, how we can't. My fear is that the media, people on the right, the people that are awake, they only want to see the people they like in the magazines or in the newspapers or in the news. And that is a detriment. That's how we got in this mess, was the pendulum swung too far left. We can't allow it to swing too far right. We need to just put information out and let people trust Americans to make up their own minds. Trust that they will do the right thing. I don't know, maybe that's crazy, but that's how I feel. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you just don't want an echo chamber, whether it's the right or the left. I like the approach that you guys are taking. In fact, with the, is that a UN program that you're talking about? To start
Yes,
the
we'll
topic?
we'll get into that after the break, but I just wanted to set the stage and just say,
Mhm.
this is what happens when we implement rules that are disinformation, misinformation, or hate speech. They sound good in theory, but when they're played out, this is what happens.
Yeah, ideas need to compete, right? That's the whole premise of free speech, is that the better idea should win, right? But when you have a totalitarian regime, right, or forces, and that could be in, the corporations, the banks, right, the pharmaceutical companies.
Mhm.
I think Jake Chansley really put it very well when we interviewed him here. Is they're all in lockstep with each other, right? They all control all the market share of everything, so they just have this. It's almost like blunt, force that they can just control whatever they want, and that's why I really think we really do need to reset the whole system on many fronts, not just the financial front, but the medical front. I think a lot of these corporations and pharmaceutical companies and banks, they need to get sued out of existence for violating people's constitutional rights.
Do you think Nuremberg 2.0 is coming at some point?
Absolutely. Looking forward to it.
I love it. All right, let's take a break on that note, and we'll be right back.
Hey, fans of Rachel Rightside Blonde, my name is Gene Ho, editor-in-chief of George Magazine. I know you're busy watching Rachel's show, but I want to also let you know about my show on the same network, George Video. Now check it out. My show is called At Home with Gene Ho. Clever name, but you'll enjoy it because I do talk a little politics, a lot of God, and also a little bit about American life and homesteading. By the way, we get to talk about my fat cow, my cow, which we hope is pregnant. Give us a calf, get us some milk. Anyway, we're going to talk all about that at Home with Gene Ho, right here on the George Video Network.
Welcome back to Not Just Politics as Usual. We were just talking about Nuremberg 2.0 and how we think maybe that will happen again. We were talking about the reset of not only the financial system, but pharmaceutical companies is a huge one. Media. So we're talking about media specifically. We're talking about the UN's new plan for social media. The UNESCO stands for UN Educational, Cultural, and Scientific Organization. And what they did was they outlined a series of concrete measures which must be implemented by all stakeholders, governments, regulatory authorities, civil society, and the platforms themselves. So reading through it, I didn't read every single point. And some of the points are great. Some of them are like protecting children, not exploiting children. That I'm on board with. I think everyone across the globe could agree with that, right? What's interesting is that it includes this whole thing. It includes the imposition of global policies through institutions, governments, businesses to stop the spread of various forms of speech while promoting objectives such as cultural diversity and gender equality. So I just wanted to read a couple of these policies. So, and I think I'll put the link to this document underneath this video so everyone can go and read. There's 2 documents I'm going to go through so you can go and, educate yourselves on what they came up with. So under use of automated systems for content moderation and curation, at the end of section 103, it said, as outlined in paragraph 87, they should also commission regular independent assessments of the impacts of their advertising systems on human rights, cultural diversity, and gender equality. And then the results of these reviews should be made public. So what does that tell you when you hear stuff like that, that they're going to run an assessment basically of your DEI policies and how woke you are, and then they're going to make it public? What do you think? How could that be a problem?
Communism.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these places, they're gonna now ramp up their DEI, their teams, and again, the pendulum's gonna swing too far, and it's all just gonna be to just kind of, it's, you know, highlighting something that isn't even real, you know, in my opinion. Like, it's, you know, they're just trying to kind of gaslight us, I think. But yeah, it's another form of control.
Right.
I hate the UN. I mean, I don't understand why we're in it. I can't stand the fact that, you know, we're a sovereign country. Like, I can't stand the UN. Like, they served a purpose, you know, after World War II, but I think they are a shell of what they used to be, right? And it's just like unelected bureaucrats trying to control sovereign countries through these ridiculous laws that if you make a meme or have a meme on your phone, you know, you go to jail. Like
Yep.
How absurd.
Yeah.
I really don't fear these people. If anything, these people should fear me. I have no respect for them. I don't acknowledge them. They don't exist in my mind. They want to control social media. Great. I won't go on social media. I'll go on video.george. You know, it's good enough for me.
Right. Who was the guy that just went off? I swear I just saw it last week and I can't remember who it was, but he was talking about how he was voting for Donald Trump. I think it was like a boxer or something to do with boxing. And his advertisers were like, you know, you can't say that you're going to vote for Donald Trump. And he basically just said, F you. You don't get to tell me. And that's the problem. I think everyone gets so scared and panicked and worried about their future, rightly so. But if everybody were to stand up and if everybody says, no, you're not going to tell me what I can and can't do, or say, you know, like that, then this wouldn't be an issue. People, you know, whether or not you lose advertising isn't a big deal, because losing freedom of speech in the long run is way worse than losing an advertiser who doesn't like Donald Trump. In another section under 100, if you want to follow along, it says limiting or eliminating the algorithm amplification of such content with due attention to content reflecting gender biases or gender-based violence, demonetizing content from advertising revenue, or removing and taking down the content. So again, they call out those particular issues, like they're trying to protect them. It's
Well, what have they done? They've been able to put labels on people falsely, right? Take I don't know, Jordan Peterson, right? He could be labeled a misogynist because he counters the modern feminist claims about, you know, their nonsense. And because he doesn't go along with their narrative, he becomes, you know, anti-woman or whatever the case may be. Now he gets cornered and he gets deplatformed and demonetized.
Right. It's unbelievable.
And I think they're going after
his medical degree or whatever.
Yes, his psychological license, you know, his medical license to practice psychology in Canada. You know, they want to retrain him or you know, it's absurd. But I love the fact that he stands up.
I know, it seriously is like 1984. Oh, you don't believe what we believe in? Well, you must be crazy. We must re-educate you. I mean, Hillary Clinton even said that. We've got to re-educate these people. They clearly weren't programmed enough. So on the same lines, there's one more.
Wait till the world learns about frazzle drip with Hillary Clinton.
Oh, he went there. He went there. Okay, one more thing too on the context-specific provisions. This is under 130, Section A. Conduct regular human rights and gender impact assessments, including on their policies, on moderation systems. This is for digital platforms. With the view to identifying systemic risks to groups in situations of vulnerability and marginalization, women and girls, and journalists. Funny, they say women and girls when most of them can't identify what a girl or a woman, what makes a woman a woman.
Give me that definition.
What is a woman?
What's a woman? What's a girl? I don't know. And journalists, artists, human rights defenders, and environmental defenders. So we have to protect the environmental defenders and the journalists, but not the journalists that want to question anything, just the journalists that are carrying on our narrative. That's what's going to happen. Let's see, is there one more? Oh yes, there's one more in this document before we move to the next document. So this is under section 143. It says, during armed conflicts and crises, platforms should promote fact checking. So have you guys looked into who runs the fact checking websites, who funds them? Have you ever done like a deep dive on that? I think I did back in 2020, but I'm curious if you had.
I haven't done a deep dive on it, but I'm going to guess it all ties back to George Soros.
I was gonna say the same thing. I was gonna say the same
Open
thing.
Society Foundation.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Jump
if you
through a bunch
follow
of
the
shell
money-
companies and you'll finally get to the money.
Yeah, exactly. It's always like veiled, but I'll never forget. It was right after the 2020 election. No, it was actually voting. It was election night. And I had a friend who was messaging me and he said, "Did you vote?" I said, "Yes." He goes, "Who'd you vote for?" I said, "Trump." And he goes, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe you did that." I go, "Let me guess, you voted for Biden." He goes, "Yeah." And I go, "You have no idea what you just voted for." And he was then it just shots were fired. It was just bad. It just was going back and forth. And I wasn't being rude. I'm just like, how could someone vote for him? I don't understand if you really look into what he's done. And then
Well, technically, you really don't know who you're voting for because his mask keeps falling off. So is that really Joe Biden? You really don't technically know who he is.
It's true.
How does your friend feel about his vote, years later now?
Honestly, Andrew, I haven't even spoke to him since. I mean, just very, very superficial things. But I feel like a lot of Americans at this point are like, well, if you're gonna do that, then I mean, it's tough. It's hard because I want to bring Americans together, but I also don't want us to sacrifice our beliefs and hopes and dreams and morals in the process either. So hopefully he's in the process of waking up to what he did vote for, which we all knew would happen when it happened. So, but in the process of that argument, he said something like, "That's not true." I said, "How do you know it's not true?" And he sent me a fact check, like from Google.
Yeah.
And I said something really bad. I said, "F your fact checkers." I was so upset. I was like, this is nothing. And then he goes, "Well, if you're not going to believe the fact checkers, then we can't argue." I said, "You're right." And I think that was actually when I realized how dangerous this is, because they're going to use Google. They're going to use these fact checkers that are run by the same system of the news media that tells you what to believe. How can we win with that? And that's one of the reasons.
When Musk took over Twitter, right? He fired basically their whole fact checking team. Yes. And it was just like a bunch of 20-year-olds with like gender studies degrees, political activist minis running the show, right? They're not fact on anything. They're just putting their opinion in and throwing, and that's why it's like you just get rid of them. They're nobodies. Right. The people behind the fact check are activists.
Yeah.
I mean, do these people forget how wrong the media has been for so long? Like they've been nothing. I mean, we were talking about the Russia hoax, right? Trump was accused of colluding with Russia. They colluded with Russia. They colluded with a foreign spy, Christopher Steele,
yep,
to write a dossier. It's literally, they're guilty of exactly.
And paid through the DNC, right?
And paid through the DNC, yes. And then use their own company to do the audit of their computers when they got hacked, right? They used, forget the name of it, but the FBI, right? They denied the access to the FBI to look at their computers when Podesta got hacked, and we found all the Pizzagate stuff's becoming real.
Yeah,
right?
those
saw that
coming back out. Yep.
Well, it's like the people from New York that were on Bill Maher just a while ago. They were doing those draconian laws during COVID, and then they came on Bill Maher and they're like, "Oh, hey, we're working with the information we have. We just asked for you guys to forgive." As you're trying to throw people in jail, kick people out of school, fire them from their job, like now they're coming back like, "Oh, just give us forgiveness and sincerely we were trying to
learn
do
from our mistakes."
Yeah, your mistake.
Yeah,
be compassionate.
Yeah. Right. Did you see Pelosi explaining the wrap-up smear? That was insane for me when she's like, "Oh, here's what we do." She basically laid it out. Here's what we do. We accuse someone of something. And then by the time that it comes out that it wasn't true, they've moved on to something else, and that person's reputation is destroyed forever. And they don't care. It's unbelievable. All right, let's take one more break. We'll come back and finish up, and we'll be right back.
What's up, guys? I'm Matt,
And I'm Drew.
and we're the hosts of the Boomerang Podcast. But we're also brokers here at Midas Gold Group. And people really like working with us because we're just a small mom and pop shop. We have a storefront here in Phoenix, Arizona. That's where Drew and I work. And you can come right in. You can come say hi, shake our hand, right? We do physical gold, physical silver. We also do it in people's IRAs. And really what our goal is, I think, is to give people a lens, have people really understand the asset, because with what's going on around the world, it's only going to get worse. And I think people are going to see more and more importance of having their money outside of the banking system, right? Out of the markets and out of the Federal Reserve note dollar.
Absolutely. And we really appreciate everybody watching us on the Boomerang Podcast on YouTube and Rumble. We also have a promotion going. If you guys are interested and would like to learn more, we are giving out some free silver. You can text Boomerang to 232425. 23 24 25. Text Boomerang. And thank you again, and look forward to talking to you guys on the next episode.
Thanks, guys.
Welcome back to Not Just Politics as Usual. We're discussing Unesco's new social media policy and essentially censorship policy. We'll just call it what it is. And within that document, I hope you all go and just skim through it at least so you can see these are the entities that create the rules that we're supposed to follow, like globally, worldly. In that document, they talked about the Disinformation and Freedom of Opinion and Expression, which is a report that was done by the General Assembly of the United Nations. And it looks like it was published the 47th session, interesting, June 21st through July 9th of 2021. All right, so it's explaining this whole thing I'll put that link too, just so if people are curious and they want to read this. They're talking about what disinformation is. And it says, there's no universally accepted definition of disinformation. While the lack of agreement makes a global response challenging, the lack of consensus underlines the complex, intrinsically political and contested nature of the concept. So they're trying to identify what disinformation is, which is a really hard concept. How would you ever say what disinformation is? It's a dangerous game. It's a dangerous game to go down that route where you're like saying this is definitely disinformation, because it depends on who's in charge as to what's disinformation. And I say that from our side too. Some of us have tunnel vision where we're looking at just one side, and you have to remain objective. That's how we got to this point, was by remaining objective and looking. Here's what was interesting. It says targets and victims. And this is what's crazy. It says, disinformation has been used in several countries. This is a UN document. Disinformation has been used in several countries in highly visible ways to undermine the right to free and fair elections. As an example, racially targeted disinformation campaigns were used to suppress votes from communities of color in the three most recent major elections in the United States of America. During the 2020 presidential election, then President Donald Trump and his surrogates repeatedly sought to erode confidence in the postal voting system and made baseless claims about election fraud on social media. This is the
Now,
UN.
turned out to be true.
What do we do about this? This is what we have. This is what we're working with.
I mean, during the pandemic, I never locked down. I still went to work. I didn't wear masks. Uber banned me from using Uber,
Tell the United flight.
United Airlines, I'm banned from United Airlines.
Forever?
Because of masks. Yeah, it's, I had to write them an apology letter, and I wasn't going to do it because I kept falling asleep on the flight, and my mask kept coming down under my nose. And they woke me up 3 times.
Oh,
And by the 3rd time I was like, yo, leave me alone. Like, I'm trying to get some sleep. I can't help it if the mask falls down. Like, we're going to get the police on the ground. Like, get the police, What are you going to do? Arrest me?
Did they arrest you, or were they?
No, they just, some guy and some lady came up to me. I'm walking out of the flight, they're like, Matthew Geiger. I'm like, shit. And
That guy
they're like, yeah, you're no longer allowed on United Airlines. So the hell with them. The hell with all the airlines. They all stink and gotta go. They're all taking public money. They just keep getting bailed out, right? They're a failing business, and I look forward to the day that they all go out of business and we can restart from scratch.
You know what we need to do is we need to gosh, I just had a complete brain fart on your boss's name that flies his own plane.
James,
goodness gracious. We need to have James just teach us all how to fly our own planes.
exactly.
And then, then we'd be fine. I actually do want to learn to fly. I think James, I think when you
It's
talked
fun.
about James flying, I was like, that'd be really fun to do, just to get in
It
and
was really cool. We did a trip from here right at the office. We had the airport literally right across the street. And we took me and Drew, we went up to Sedona. It's about a 35-minute flight. Just went up there, flew on the side of a mountain. The airstrip's right on the side of it. And I was like out of a James Bond movie. We got out, we had lunch, and then got back in the plane and flew back here.
oh my
A lot of
God.
fun. Yeah. Real cool.
All right, James, if you're listening, teach me your ways. Teach me how to fly a plane.
We'll let them know.
Yeah. All right. Do you have anything you want to share?
Oh yeah, we're gonna launch the Juan O'Savin interview today. Right, we're recording on Tuesday, so it's gonna come out today on YouTube, Rumble. Really interesting interview. I think it will give people a lot of really great insights into things like gold, silver, also cryptocurrencies, kind of the state of affairs, and just a lot of really good, I think, insights that only Juan can give.
Okay, question, because Juan likes to talk. How long is the interview?
1 hour, 40 minutes.
Ooh, that's pretty good.
Yeah,
I
we
love-
got him. It was like 5 o'clock in the morning his time.
Yeah.
He does that sometimes.
He was very gracious. He was very gracious with his time, and he even said his exact words. As far as what Drew and I do, as far as gold, silver, he says we're in a very important lane at this time.
Yeah,
So,
you are. You are. And if anyone's looking for gold, silver help, these are your guys, Matt and Andrew, Midas Gold. They're awesome. And they're patriots through and
We
through.
are. Yep,
Yep.
we are, and we've been selling a lot of American Eagles, gold and silver, and we got confirmation from Juan that that's really the type of stuff you want to put yourself into. So I feel good about kind of what we do for clients as far as product placement. That stuff's important.
Yep.
It is.
Constitutional money.
I love it. All right, guys. That does it for today. I will see you next time. Thanks for joining me and have a good week.
Thank you, Rachel. Take care.
Thank you.